I I am doing well.
Sweet.
So the question on everyone's mind is, are you going to host this show?
Oh,
Are you gonna Are you gonna permanently host this show?
no, I won't. No, I prefer you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Uh,
If what did the LBJ say? If elected, I will not. If what is it? If nominated, I will not run. If elected, I will not serve.
well,
I like Shad, man.
what about
Huh?
entertainment in Canada? Period.
What about it?
Would you ever? Do you want to work up here?
Yeah,
Do
no,
you
I'd
hate
work
working
up
up
here.
here? What do you think of the
Well, when I
entertainment
was
industry here?
starting, and I started a long time ago. I'm an old man, 50, two score and ten, as Abraham Lincoln would say. I'm so let's face it. I've seen more sunsets than I'm going to see. But when I started out in stand up, there wasn't no Canadian TV. There wasn't
Okay.
nothing, or movies or nothing like that. So we did our stand up, and then we would travel around. And thanks to this very nice man named Mark Breslin, who started Yuck Yucks, we got a chance to do stand up. And but there was nothing that we were going for. There was only getting better at stand up. When I moved to Los Angeles, I started noticing. The first thing I noticed was, God damn, everybody's handsome. Like all the stand-ups were super handsome guys, which is not the case here, or it was not the case when I was here. And so I was like, that's weird. And then I realized they were only using stand-up as a springboard to other things, which I don't like. I just like stand-up for its own sake.
Was it the performance side you liked first, or the writing?
Writing. I like just to write. Like even later, like I thought, man, I should be doing something on stage because I would write the jokes and I would just stand like a statue on stage. I move a little bit now, but literally, first of all, I'd be frozen with fear, but also I would never, it never occur to me to, if I was talking about rocking a baby, to pretend to rock a baby with my hands. I thought I just said it. So I could have really just put a bunch of papers on a stool in front of everyone and let them peruse it.
How did you get better at that?
I never got better. I'm a little bit better at physicalizing my act, a little bit, but it's still mostly words. It's the imagination. The mind. When I was young, we had radio, and in many ways, it was better. No, I'm just kidding. But you know how they say that, old men? They're like, we would listen to the radio, and it was better because your imagination is better than especially hardcore pornography. And you go, what? It's a weird thing, though, seriously.
Yeah.
They go like, so just speaking of pornography, because nowadays it's so awful. But in the old days, all you had to see is a fleeting glimpse of a lady's ankle, and that would be enough. But you think about that, that's gross. Like, that's a guy's at home doing gross stuff to himself, thinking about a lady's ankle? God, damn, that's kind of odd, too.
So, do you think radio is better as far as the imagination? Just generally
I like
speaking, on
radio
that theme?
comedy, which doesn't exist anymore. But I was thinking of doing, they have radio podcast stuff. I was thinking of doing an old timey radio thing because there are radio jokes that can't be done on television. I can't think of one, but it'd be like, and it doesn't help any that you're wearing a pink chiffon. Something you don't see,
Yeah.
but works after the joke that you just heard. Informs the joke afterwards. I don't know a lot of words, Shad, and I'm trying to fit them in properly.
Okay, I want to stick on the topic of Canada for a second since we have you here on our public broadcaster.
Yeah.
You've said that as a young man, going on the train across Canada was one of your favorite
Yeah,
things.
I love that. Yeah.
What was it about that you loved?
I'm gonna do that again. I think it was. You see the country. The train is the most beautiful. All through literature, the train has, well, actually, it symbolized death. That's not a good one. But when you go on a train across Canada, you start Moncton and you go across.
Yeah.
The first couple of days, people are normal. After that, people go crazy, start having sex with each other. Not me, but I saw it. And then a guy gave me a cookie. I was only 16, right?
He gave you a cookie. Is that like a
A cookie.
signal or what is
Yeah,
that?
like one of those cookies that's laced with
Oh, okay.
drugs. But I was only a kid. I was only 15, 16. So the guy sitting right beside me is like, "Hey, you want one of these cookies?" I go, "No, man, I don't want no cookie." He's like, "These are good cookies." I'm like, I don't care. I don't want no cookie." He's like, "I'm telling you, this is a good." I'm like, "Enough with the cookies." So, anyways, whatever. The guy finally stopped yapping about his cookies, you know. And then I woke up like a day later, or whatever, and nobody was around, and I was hungry, and there was the bag of cookies. I ate the whole
Oh
bag.
no.
Yeah, it didn't turn out well. And then I remember there was a little elderly black gentleman that was a porter who I said really filthy things to, like almost like I was coming on to him.
As a teenager,
Yeah.
because of the cookies.
Because of the cookies, I figured I'd have my sexual awakening with a 78-year-old man.
But you went back onto the train though.
Yeah, I've
That-
been on the train three or four times.
So that didn't scare you off.
No, the train across Canada, if anybody has a chance to do it, is the most beautiful experience. You know, you go through Kicking Horse Pass and stuff, and you go in the bar car, and you meet strangers, and you look out the window, you know, and there's a lady putting up her, her wash on her line with her clothespins.
It's very romantic, right?
Yeah.
You imagine your life in any of these little cities and what it would maybe look like. Right?
Yeah, and she, the lady with the clothespins, imagines your life. Yeah.
And you brought up Moncton. That's where the train line starts.
Yes, sir.
And you tweeted a really great story about your friend Phil
Oh, yeah, yeah.
in Moncton. Could you tell us about that?
There was some unpleasantness in Moncton a year ago or so.
The shooting.
With the shooting, yeah, which is something that happens in our times. That didn't happen when I was a boy. But yeah, I knew an old man there who my friend Shaggy, that wasn't his real name, but he sounded like the dude from Scooby Doo. And so we all laughed about that because we'd eat Count Chocula and smoke marijuana. And so he said, I was going to Moncton. I just started taking the train. And I said, I get some work. He said, oh, yeah, my old man's there, Phil. And so anyways, when this unpleasantness happened in Moncton, it was the Kings were in the finals,
Yeah.
Los Angeles, and I was there, and I had a ticket. And instead of going to the game, I phoned Phil, talked to him, and he was like barricaded in his basement. And it was kind of cool. Like I was talking to him, and then he was halfway through. He's like, screw this, man. I'm going to go upstairs. He kept talking about his 50. He had a big 50-inch TV. He was going to watch it, and then he reminded me of all this stuff that I was there. And then the coolest one thing was he reminded me that he had taken me to a game where Daryl Sutter had played in the game.
Like a junior hockey game in
junior
Moncton?
hockey game, yeah. So it was really, really cool. It was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing.
You tweeted that story. You also tweeted a really touching story about Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah.
What is it with Twitter and the short stories? You seem to like that form. You express yourself well in it. People like it. What is it about Twitter and short stories for you?
Well, because I didn't know what Twitter was for really much. People told me, you got to get Twitter. And I was like, no, people just say that, I'm eating a hamburger, stuff like that. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, which
And
it kind of is.
A
Yeah.
lot of it is, yeah. And so then I went on it and I told some jokes. And then my fans would go, that one sucks. They're supposed to be your fans, They just abuse you constantly. So, but then I would sometimes have memories of people. It was, people pass or something, and I'd have a memory and no one to tell it to, and so it would just be late at night, and sort of it's not really meant to as anything that would ever be published or anything. It was just a way of me telling the people that followed me on Twitter that I knew Robin Williams, and I met Robin Williams once, and he was very sweet to me, and so I just.
Do you think people are getting a different side of you through those sorts of tweets and short stories?
Yeah, maybe. Like people are always thinking, that you're that there's only one side to you. When the performing side of a person obviously is the smallest side of their facets. But yeah, maybe they get a little bit of, but that's not really why I do it. I just do it because it's late at night and I'm alone and I don't drink or smoke or do drugs or be promiscuous or anything. So I just kind of reflect a lot.
Well, another thing people got a sense of you from Twitter is when you defended Alice Munro.
Oh yeah.
A little attack from Bret Easton Ellis.
Yes, yes. Well, there's
Twitter.
this guy, Bret Easton Ellis. So I don't really follow modern. I don't think you call that literature, graffiti, whatever it is he does. So he had written something against Alice Munro, and then I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I read one of his quote unquote books, and
which one? American Psycho.
American Psycho.
Yeah,
that was the famous one, and people had told me it was good, but whatever. So then I was like, how dare this guy, to say something about something he doesn't understand. I mean, it's one thing you can be a bad writer, but God, at least read. At least you learn to read if you're going to be a writer, for God's sakes.
Well, people probably didn't know about your interest in literature, your analysis,
no, people don't know that. I like writing a great deal.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me the source, but the greatest writers are novelists.
Yeah.
But then I would put I don't know, maybe singer-songwriters I put way up there.
Ahead of comedians.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Well, because I don't think of comedy really as an art. Like I think of other things. I think of comedy as more of a craft. It can reach certain levels, but only certain levels, because comedy requires laughter, and as soon as you require something of an audience, you're in trouble.
That's interesting, because to me, comedy is the highest art.
Really?
Because it's the most kind of simple and precise, and it holds the most things together. Like in one joke or one sort of comedic phrase or story, you can represent so many things, and laughter is kind of the thing that brings the most people together. I think even more than music, people like laughter.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's kind of the
What
highest.
did you just say, though, that it holds what?
It holds so many things together. Somebody can tell a joke that is true, that is funny, that is sad, kind of all at the same time. And it can be as short as one line. So to me, it's actually kind of the highest art.
No, I mean, as far as writing goes, like, to me, the shorter the better. Like if you take comedy writing, like a movie would be the worst to me, and then a TV show, and then a sketch. I mean, in terms of hardness, and then a joke would be the hardest. And this shortest joke, there's a famous joke by Henny Youngman, "Take my wife, please." So that's 4-word joke, 3-word setup and 1-word punchlines. That's incredibly difficult. But no, the reason I was saying is because you have to produce laughter. So you can have a layered joke, but you can't have something that can be interpreted by different people in different ways, because you have to create a noise at a certain time, and that noise has to be consistent. So every single person in that audience has to understand. So therefore, it's a little bit of a blunt force instrument.
Yeah.
But there is a way to bring art,
into comedy.
But it's more difficult.
I have to say, my favorite.
I'm not usually serious about stuff, so
yeah.
I'm not good at it.
No, that's great. I have to say, probably my favorite thing about you, and I told you I saw your show in Vancouver.
Uh-huh.
I pretty much paid the ticket, however much it was, to hear you say the phrase "on account of." That is, like, to me, the funniest thing.
On account of?
On account of.
It's kind of Canadian phrase, I think.
Did that just strike you as funny, or did you ever analyze that? There's something about that that's just hilarious. I paid $50 to hear you say that live.
On account of?
Yeah.
Well, I grew up, Shad. My father was old when he had me.
Yeah.
And he was 50, a little older than 50. And then I grew up in rural Canada, very barren soil, and everybody was old except me and my brothers. So everybody was like 50. All my dad's friends were 50. So I grew up with all the old guys, and so I took on a lot of their phrases and stuff like that. So sometimes, like I remember my dad would say, "She's no hell," and it was such a weird phrase to me. But that meant she's nothing special. She's not that pretty.
Okay.
She's no hell. But you'd think it would be she's no heaven.
Yeah.
But so I'd learn phrases like that.
And fans also love your fearlessness on stage.
On account of what?
On account of you going on, talk shows. Even Conan O'Brien has talked about how you're unpredictable. He never knows what you're gonna do.
Well, what happens is in talk shows they tell you, not here, but in Letterman and Conan stuff, they pre-interview you. So you tell a story to the pre-interviewer, then he tells Letterman. Then you go on and tell Letterman, he already knows the story.
Yeah.
So when I first started, I was like, I just made up a whole bunch of stories that I didn't tell. So I'd tell the pre-interviewer a bunch of stories. Then I get on Letterman, he'd ask me, and I'd tell him all different stories to surprise him, So he wouldn't know the story, because that sucks if a guy's already heard the story. And so then finally they decided, what's the use,
But do Letterman and Conan and these guys like when you throw something new at them, or are they like?
No, they like it. Yeah, they like it. They're cool with it. Because, Letterman's the funniest guy I've ever met. So he's like, you got to keep up with him. He's very, very difficult to stay with, because he's just so funny and so fast and so super sharp. And, I remember one of my first things I ever did, it was this joke that it was in my act. It had been in my act for a year or whatever. And I did it on panel with him, talking. Panel is when you just talk to the guy. And, then he did a line right after it that was funnier than all the thing. I was like, damn, I worked for a year on that joke, and you just thought of it out of your crazy big mind.
Did you first meet him doing stand-up, or did you first meet him on that show?
No, on that show. He did stand-up for a very short time when I was a young boy, but he was not a stand-up. But he was nice to me. He's taken me to dinner and stuff and talked. He's a kind of an odd duck, but super smart and really, really funny. But you can be having dinner with Letterman. It'd be like six. He always brings 5 or 6 guys, so he's protected. And then he'll be like, I got to go to the bathroom. And then he leaves. And then you go, I guess he's not coming back.
Does it ever scare you, the chaos?
The chaos of
being unpredictable, of sharing some story that hasn't been vetted by everyone else.
Sometimes I do get scared. I get scared on the Howard Stern show because it's so long form, and he does this thing where he's super honest, and then he makes you be super honest, and then afterwards you're like, what did I say? What did I say? What did I say? And then I remember one time I was in a limo, like right after Stern. I was talking to the limo driver. This Greek guy, and I was like, I was talking to Stern. I don't even know what I said. He's like, he's like a hypnotist. He go, I bring my wife to. I don't know if this is very good Greek. He goes, I bring my wife to Las Vegas one year. Hypnotist bring me up. I talk to him. I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, I'm in my underwear. So it's like that's what it's like. He like looks you right in your eye, talks to you, and now all of a sudden you're in your underwear.
Sidebar, do you think that actually works, that hypnotist stuff?
I'll tell you, man, I saw Ravine the Impossibilist once, and that was the guy's name.
Yeah.
It was at the NAC in Ottawa, where I live. I was 13 years old. And he had guys up there, and he was talking to them, and he said, "You do." And then so everybody running around. One guy talked like he was from the moon. He said, "You from the moon? You got moon language." And this other guy, he does this other thing, and you're a chicken and stuff, right? So all chaos going around, and the guy pecking. I remember the chicken guy went right by me. He was pecking. He's trying to get some food. There's no food. And anyways, after the show, I was out in the parking lot with my brothers, right? And I see the guy. I go, "There's that chicken guy. I'm going to talk to him." So I went up to him. I said, "What was that like, man? You thought you were chicken?" And then he's like, "It was cool." And I was like, "Wait a second, hold on. Like, if you thought you were a chicken for 15 minutes, if you had that psychic break, you go like, oh my God, I got to go lie down and seek counseling." And so the guy was just going along, just lying. He's like, "It's cool." How's that cool? Thinking you're not even a human. So no, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
They wanted me to stop smoking. Say, go to a hypnotist, and they'll, he said, it worked for me. I'm like, I feel I want to quit myself on account of, I don't want to be that weak that a hypnotist, I go, "Hey man, I quit smoking. That's the good news. Bad news, I got no will of my own." It's an old man we're on Bloor Street. He makes my decisions for me.
Okay, just going back to the chaos for a second, and sorry, I have to catch my breath. Yeah, going back to the chaos for a second. Is there anything in those moments that comes to mind that you've regretted? Like, oh, I shouldn't have taken that turn. That really stands out for you. I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have made that joke.
No, not usually, because I've bombed many times, and when I do, I have sort of outer body experience. Because there's a thing with stand-ups when you see another guy bomb, you're like, you like it. I don't know what it is, but you're used to seeing people do good. And if people have stories, even in life, usually the stories something bad happened to you. If you're all your stories, you're the hero. That's not a good story.
No.
And then I did good again. So usually the stories are you're embarrassed, something bad happened like that. So I get a kind of an outer body experience while I'm bombing. Because I think it's kind of funny. Like, guys went there to laugh, and then nothing worked out. And then also it's funny, they hate your guts. Like, you're doing your best. It's not like you're intentionally, trying to make them not laugh.
Yeah.
But you're just failing. And then they're like, we hate you. Like, and so I find that kind of funny. Then I smirk, and then they really, really hate me.
But that doesn't exist in other forms of performance. Like, if I go up and I play a song and people don't think it's great, there's like this instinct to clap.
Yeah, right.
People just clap or cheer.
Yeah.
They're just this instinctual thing that happens because the song's done.
Yeah.
But with comedy, it's almost the opposite.
It is. They got clap. You can get people to clap. I always thought clapping for comedy was the opposite thing you want, because clapping is like a assent, sort of. They're saying, we agree with you. It's usually like some lame thing, like you go, Pat Buchanan's a Nazi or some ridiculous thing. Ridiculous thing. And but laughter is involuntary.
Yeah.
Laughter is like, people don't expect or want to laugh. But applause is like, yes, we agree. You are right. George Bush started a war. You're like, well, where's the goddamn joke?
We got to wrap up, unfortunately.
All right,
but
you were awesome.
Well, thank you. You were great, and
I hope you
helped.
stay. I hope you stay here, do the job. That'd be awesome.
Thank you very much. I'd love to have you back if I do.
Yeah, that would be great.
Last thing, you were campaigning for Craig Ferguson's job, and we just want to know what's next for you. We want to see more of you. We want to hear more of you.
Oh,
what's
well, that's
next?
a nice thing for you to say.
It's the truth.
I don't know why you're so plural. Why is this you?
What do you mean?
Did they teach you that on radio? Go, we would like to see.
No, that's actually, I think they're trying to get me not to say that anymore.
Yeah. Say I.
And say I, but I don't know. It's like a natural, deferential, I think, polite thing, maybe, or something. It feels too intimate to say I do.
Oh, okay. So, hey, there's some music.
Oh, there's some music, yeah. So we got to go. Hopefully, Norm will stick around. Norm Macdonald is at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre in Toronto tonight and at Hamilton Place in Hamilton, Ontario tomorrow. He joined us
I
in
believe
Studio
the
Q.
Hamilton one was the last Cosby performance.
True.